Welcome to Ride the Wave, hosted by me, Jeff Fisher, and co-hosted by Mark Robinson, in partnership with the Ride the Wave Foundation. Visit us at ridethewave.org, where we're dedicated to empowering their lives through free resources in servant leadership, mental health wellness, and how to find a purpose. At Ride the Wave, we believe in the power of every story, talent, and voice. Our commitment is clear: to bridge divides, unite communities, and build an all-inclusive, modern campus for those experiencing homelessness. So let's dive in and ride the wave of positive change together. Hey everyone, thank you so much for jumping on the board and riding the wave with us. Mark, how you doing, my friend?
Jeff, always.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Good to see you. It's going to be released after, but happy early July 4th.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Absolutely. Glad to have City Relief with us today. I had mentioned them a couple times. With us, our guest is Joe Schulz. Joe is from Belleville, New Jersey, and he's the director of New Jersey programs for City Relief. Joe.
It's true. I am.
That's right. You are. Welcome.
I am. Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Glad to have you.
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Happy that I get to represent City Relief and talk about what we do.
Yeah, and like I said, I had there's a few times I volunteered for City Relief at Paterson.
Yeah.
I did do the Bronx too.
Cool.
Such a really fantastic group, good organization. I think everybody there genuinely cares.
Yes.
And also some great opportunity of growth and things like that. So glad to have you on. And to start, Joe, if you could tell us a bit about your role and the foundation, that'd be, I think, a good way to start for us.
Sure. Absolutely. So City Relief has been around for 35 years. We celebrated our 35th anniversary earlier this year.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah. It was founded by Richard and Dixie Galloway. They came up to New York and started City Relief. So it used to be called the Relief Bus, New York City Relief. Now it's just City Relief. It's a little bit more transferable. What we do is we are a mobile outreach to people experiencing homelessness. So we have outreaches in New York, Paterson, and Newark, although Newark is currently on hold as we're kind of rebuilding in Newark.
Okay.
And so what I do is I oversee our programs in New Jersey.
I see. Okay. When you say rebuilding in Newark, coming up with an alternative plan?
Yeah, so we used to do outreach in Newark Friday nights. We had 3. We went to the North Ward, South Ward, and Peter Francisco Park behind Penn Station. Mm-hmm. North and South Ward shut down like 5 or so years ago. And we recently closed last summer the Peter Francisco Park one. The nature of homelessness is changing in Newark. And so we weren't able to be as effective as we want to. Okay. We don't want to do a ton of output for not a lot of outcome. And so we kind of took a chance to step back, assess, figure out not how can what City Relief does fit into Newark, but what is God already doing in Newark and how can City Relief fit into that? So me and my team have been able to spend time talking with a number of different organizations, city officials, all sorts of people in Newark, and learning about the amazing stuff already going on and seeing how we can fit in and help fill gaps and be a part of that.
Yeah, I think that's great. So is Newark a lot worse off than other areas?
No, Newark is doing
just something that's different about.
Newark is doing a great job addressing homelessness. So Newark has the highest amount of people experiencing homelessness in New Jersey. Okay. But they have some amazing programs. They have their Hope Villages, which are shipping containers that they've turned into kind of like studio apartments that are just incredible. It's clean, it's safe.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool.
Are you familiar with Be the Change, New Jersey? Do you know Dr.
It sounds familiar.
Okay, she was on.
Okay, yeah.
She was on. We had her on Connection. Actually, Liquid Church I go to. That's how I got connected to City Relief.
Oh, awesome.
And also through a friend who was on the show too, Danielle.
Okay.
Connected me there. I was curious if you guys ever collaborated.
I don't think we have, but that's definitely worth looking into.
Yeah, I'll connect you guys.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'll mention Dr. Bo there because they do a lot of different things. Mark, for example, it got pushed back. I had mentioned it in a short clip. on the 22nd, originally we were supposed to go. Mark was going to paint a mural, teach kids how to do that. We were going to have an event,
awesome.
an outreach in Newark. It got pushed back because of scheduling and things like that. So we are going to do that. So gardens in the community in Newark, things like that they do, which is really nice.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that stuff. I used to live in Newark, and there was a community garden at the end of my block that I really wish I had participated in.
Yeah.
At the time, I was like, whatever, I don't care. Now I'm like, oh, if I could like grow my own food, that'd be so cool. But
I think it's great.
Yeah.
It's good for kids too.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
Gives kind of just adds some more green space.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So Newark, now you're going to the drawing board, want to come up with a good plan there. What type of services are you offering now at a Paterson and with the mobile service?
So in Paterson, so a brief history about City Relief in Paterson. We had an outreach in Paterson for about 10 years, roughly from 2007 to 2017. It was the same model that we did in New York City, where we had the school bus that we've turned into a mobile soup kitchen, which is super cool.
Nice.
Really fun to drive those buses. Kind of scary, but fun.
Been on a few.
Yeah. And we would drive it to a neighborhood in Paterson on Saturday night, set up, do our outreach, and leave. And so we weren't super invested and connected to the community. And so it wasn't as successful as it could have been. And it was just the philosophy of kind of fly in, fly out. It's not what City Relief is about. So our current CEO, Josiah Haken, he had us pull out to do what we're doing in Newark, take time to assess and figure out how can we really do this to our utmost ability and really help people. And so he went around looking for someone who was called to Paterson, passionate about Paterson, and a part of Paterson, and somehow ended up connecting with me. And so I've been lucky to help kind of relaunch us in Paterson. So we've been doing outreach in Paterson currently for like 5 years.
Yeah.
So on Saturday mornings, we go in front of the Good Shepherd Mission. That's kind of our flagship outreach, what you volunteered at, you said.
Yep.
Mark, we'll get you out there soon.
Yeah.
And what we do is we set up a little like party on the street. So we make fresh soup in the morning. We pick up fresh bread from a bakery in Newark, to Cher's Bakery. Awesome Portuguese rolls. They're so good.
They are really good.
The move.
That's amazing.
I've heard
bakery.
about that. I've heard about it.
Yeah.
And they donate.
Oh, yeah.
Right. They give you just a couple big bags.
Ton of bread because they give for all of our outreaches. And
that's good.
New York, like you said, you went to the South Bronx one. It's a big outreach.
Yeah.
And they have bread for everybody.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. They'll have like 300 people come by. Paterson obviously isn't as big as that.
Yeah.
But so the bread, we give away brand new socks, Bombas socks. For every pair that they sell, they donate a pair, which I would have never believed, except they give us hundreds of thousands of socks. So they really do. And they're great socks. We offer prayer if people want it. If not, it's totally okay. It's not a barrier to receiving services, not a barrier to us becoming friends. But we do offer prayer for people. And most people want prayer. And then sometimes people pray for us, which is my favorite.
Yeah.
Nice.
Set up tables and chairs, play a little Michael Jackson. That way people can sit down and eat a meal like a human being, instead of shuffled off into a corner real quick trying to eat.
Right.
And that's the impression that I got. Keep treating others like a human.
Exactly.
And conversate with other people.
Yeah.
And connect. And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Yeah. So us kind of being a part of the community, and helping to create an environment where the community can thrive. And people from different walks of life can come together and be in community. So people who volunteer with us can come and meet somebody who's maybe experiencing homelessness or is a recent arrival from another country, and is trying to make ends meet, and start to build genuine connections and friendships. And it's amazing how lives can be impacted by that.
It's very humbling.
Yeah.
To me. You know, I had I don't know if it was the first or second time, but it was winter, really cold, really piercing cold, that I decided to go out with a friend and volunteer there. And it was in Paterson. It was sad. I mean, it really was. I had gone there more in warmer weather, but the winter brings it out.
Yeah.
I think the winter really brings out the poverty, really brings out, you see what state people are really in. And it's going to be tough for me to get not emotional again. I had gone and I cried when I went back home that first time that I had gone. I can never forget it. It was just so humbling to me, like a 14-year-old girl.
Mm-hmm.
And she clearly was on drugs. It was freezing cold and she wasn't wearing a jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Vanessa, I don't know if we offer or whatever, I know probably freeze. You can't take your own jacket off and give it to somebody.
We've done it, but
I know it's tough not to. I wanted to.
Yeah.
And just seeing her state, 14 years old, man. And Vanessa, I think, was saying that there was a house, I guess, to do prostitution and drugs and things like that. So she probably was a part of that at 14.
Yeah.
I'm getting like a little like emotional just thinking about it now and then I went home and I was like 14. Like I tried to wrap my head around really what I saw. And Vanessa does. And by the way, shout out to Vanessa. We appreciate you. We love you. Love her spirit. I know she's a native of Paterson, right? Just where
she was
from.
Born in Paterson. Raised in Clifton. Yeah.
Yeah. And love her energy.
She's the best.
She's the best.
She represents the best of us.
You guys got to go out, whether it be Paterson or just anywhere, volunteer for city relief. And there's nothing more humbling and better. And those are experiences that you can't get if you're just watching it, giving money once in a while. You're not going to see a girl in that state where you're not going to actually, when you put your eyes on it and hands on it, it changes everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
When it's real.
Absolutely. When you're out there rubbing elbows with people and seeing the strength that people have considering what they go through.
Right. Right.
And I mean, people experiencing poverty don't exist to inspire those of us who aren't going through poverty. That being said, it can be very inspirational. And so seeing the strength of like what some of my friends out there go through and they still love the Lord or still choose to help others, just continue to fight the good fight. It's incredible. And I mean, I've learned so much from people just about what perseverance means, what faith means, what just doing what you got to do in the face of so much adversity means.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
It's been a year now that the foundation was formed on paper, and it's progressively changed my life. The resilience in people and the intelligence too. And a lot of people, they want to do what's right and they want to pursue good things. They just can't get that footing financially or whatever that is to really get to a state where they could really accomplish that. Alvin's a perfect example of such a hustler. Right? Our friend Alvin, volunteer for Ride the Wave, active, great guy. He is the poster child of somebody that is working so hard to change his life.
Yeah.
I could, if it was in our means, I would just give him, and set him up. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. You know how it is. But I understand my mind has been just transforming. And this show is a testament to that. The resilience in people, and not just homeless on every level, no matter what. We had a conversation. Hopefully he'll come on. I'm not sure. I reached out with a guy who was an executive for a predominant organization, and his life was something else. He was not from a privileged life.
Yeah.
Right.
So really, the resilience in people overall, but in those situations, it amazes me too. Like, how could you have any positivity? That winter, that same day I was talking about the 14-year-old girl, there was a guy in a great mood that day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Willing to bet my life I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you probably have seen him a couple times there. I talked to him. He's a Giant fan.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
He's
the man.
Yeah. I forget. What's his name? Can't remember.
Yeah.
He's a notable character though.
Yes, he is.
He's the guy.
Yeah, he's there every week.
Yeah.
Great friend.
He helps out.
He's always busting chops.
Yeah.
Someone a former coworker of mine, when we would show up, he'd always just be like, "Get this guy out of here." I almost blow up, just joking around and stuff.
Yeah, I was busting on him too about football. And then he comes in, he prayed with everybody. Really great guy. Helps out. Clean.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We have a couple of people. We've really gotten to become part of like an amazing community. Yeah. And so like times when volunteers that we've recruited either haven't shown up or didn't sign up or whatever, people from the community jump in, help out. And that's one of the things I love getting to see, kind of changing and flipping the dynamic of going from being served and feeling like you're in need to getting to serve someone else. and be of service to others.
And have you seen somebody's life you personally had involvement that has changed to that capacity, where they've completely changed their lives and they volunteer now and they're clean, things like that? Have you been involved?
Yeah, I have.
Specifically?
Yeah.
It's got to be an amazing feeling.
It is. The people I've found who have made the biggest changes in their lives and are most appreciative to me for what I've done are people who I really didn't do that much for. People who I'm like, listen, I moved mountains and like I did a lot of work. I may not hear from them again. Someone who I prayed for the person.
Yeah.
For resilience. And then I see them 6 months later, and they'll be like, without you guys praying for us, without City Relief, without you, I wouldn't be where I am and stuff. And it's just amazing. Or just something like, hey, yeah, I'll make a phone call and see if there's a rehab bed available for you or a shelter bed. We have a great partnership with a lot of different organizations. And so it always blows my mind that it's the people where I kind of get my ego and I'm like, I did this, that, and the third, and I did all this. And then.
See, I get three things out of that. I get 1, the power of prayer.
Yeah.
2, I forgot what I was going to say.
Happens to me all the time.
Yeah, it's just completely lost.
Story of my life.
1, power of prayer. The interaction with different people and seeing them later on down the line and them telling this gentleman, if it wasn't for the prayer, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Yeah, no, thanks, Mark. Because it also doing things for other people is what was the second one. Sometimes when you, and I've done that too. I mean, as a leader, I'm learning lessons too, just with business, things like that. Giving too much information in an effort to help or doing things for somebody might not be it. So the other one was just caring.
Absolutely.
And then if somebody asks, being there to support them. So not running around doing everything specifically for them. The power of prayer, that offering, that support, and that, I think that's what thanks for bringing that back around there. That was a total fog of thought.
That was
loss.
Impressive.
It happened.
That was very impressive.
Mark is getting to know me more every day. How to bring me back around.
Nice. You need it.
We balance each other out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Exactly, man. Yeah, no, it's. I think that's. It's interesting. It's interesting because, and Javon, we have a show that's going to come out. We had recorded one. He mentioned, I'm probably going to get this wrong. Was it Venezuela, or I don't know if it's Venezuela. Whatever country it was, there was a president, the leader of that country, that really turned it around. And the first thing the guy said, out of anything he could have said on that interview, that guy, we prayed, was the first thing that came out of his mouth. Now, that to me is very, very interesting. Out of we got together, we put together these programs, we went hard into, cracking down on crime, did anything that guy could have said, and he said that. To me, that just validates that, okay, there's something tangible there because it's coming from a professional who experienced cleaning up a country from evil. And then you're saying right there that you're praying for these people, supporting them if needed, but not going, not trying to change them. It's like a parent trying to change a kid.
Exactly.
Right? You can only guide somebody.
Exactly. Right? And it's giving people the agency to do what they can for themselves. And what that looks like for everybody is different. There are some people that we've helped where I need to be more involved. My team needs to be more involved, where we're the ones making the phone calls, helping to make stuff happen because they, at the time, maybe don't have the capacity to do that for whatever reason. But giving people ownership of their own lives is so important. And we all go up and down in how much we can really take ownership in our lives and what we can do versus what we need someone to help us with or do for us.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, and so some people just point them in the right direction and they got it.
I do wish that there was more people in the community that would ask for help. I think that there are people that want to pick themselves up by their own bootstraps. might be a little bit embarrassed or been burned so many times they don't trust anybody.
That's
mostly
the key.
robbed, stolen, whatever, family. So there's trust issues there and fear of people, them bringing them in because they've been disappointed so many times, I would assume there. And I think we all would fall in the trap of assuming what somebody wants or needs. So getting an assessment of what do you really want here? Like what Dr. Bo was saying, that before you go into any community to make a change, you got to figure out what they want. Because you may do, we'll put a park here. They might not want that.
Absolutely.
And then nobody's going to go to the park.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's something people do all the time. Assume what somebody needs. Oh, of course, we all are.
Yeah.
And then we get frustrated. Why is this not working?
Yeah.
Why is this person not doing what they need to do? Maybe that's not what they want.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not what they need. If we ask people, we save ourselves so many headaches and frustration. Asking like, what would help? Last summer, one of the outreaches we do in Paterson is a mobile outreach where we drive around in our shuttle and go directly where people are. So different encampments and stuff.
That's good.
It's my favorite one. I love it. And we were asking people we thought they were all going to say food. We need food, water. Everybody wanted water.
Interesting.
This summer, people have been asking us for food. So we just started bringing out food on Thursdays when we do the mobile. It's a little different because we're not set up giving out the soup. So what we just actually tried out for the first time last Thursday was making chicken and rice and beans and making little like trays to go and giving those out as we talk with people. Just finding out what people need instead of just giving them stuff.
You making it more, are you with the individual, you're trying to make it more customizable?
Yes.
Trying to, not instead of cookie cutter, all size fits all. It's very difficult to classify everybody in the same group. Everybody's so different and unique. Everybody's story, from CJ being on, somebody that came from Egypt to provide for his family, run into a few things with his family. You have Dan, and there's so many variety of stories and things like that. There's not one service that will fit all. Right. I think that's really why we are pursuing with our full commitment, and everything is a part of cutting the ribbon to the campus. If we're developing partnerships and relationships with organizations such as yourself, we're setting up ourselves to have those people, individuals, and organizations that could work effectively to build and maintain community campus like a university where people could go graduate. They could go on, live on campus for a certain amount of years until they're clean, those humane services. Because I feel like everything is there. It's just all scattered out. It needs to be in one all-inclusive spot. So that's what we're gunning for.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
What are the end goal?
Yeah.
Yes. Our dream is to cut the ribbon, Mark and I.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things is the navigating services can be incredibly challenging.
It is.
Even just like, I think back to when I was like younger, trying to figure out how to like apply for college. That I was almost unable to figure out on my own. Yeah. Imagine having no idea of any kind and trying to get your life back on track. And you're on the street. And so a lot of what we do is sort of like resource navigation. So we spend a lot of time networking, connecting with people, organizations who offer direct services. That way, when we're out on the street and we meet somebody, we can help point them in the right direction. One of the challenges is stuff is all over the place.
Right.
And so if you don't have transportation, let's be honest, public transportation is not great in New Jersey.
No.
To say the least. It's a challenge. It's absolutely a challenge. If you need to go over here to get your to go speak to Social Security, over here for the DMV, over here for whatever.
And what we observed, even if there's housing provided, which is like huge, and all the money that's involved in that too, that's a whole nother thing. I got my little thoughts on that. But then having to navigate those variety of resources, there could be relapse and mental health issues in between, because there's people get, I get if you're passed around so much,
Mhm.
and then if you talk to somebody that maybe had a bad day, or there's somebody that works for an organization where they're going through the motions and they have to follow the rules and things like that.
Mhm.
And I could see how defeating that could just be. It's like somebody they're not happy on the phone anyway.
Yep.
You're going here, they don't seem like they care. I'll just do drugs. Nobody cares about me. Yeah, I got this house. I got a house. I don't have they're not making me do anything that I need to. I get a certain amount of money.
Mhm.
Like there's no incentive there. Really, it's the opposite of an
Mhm.
incentive. So we're able to provide incentives for people to do the right thing.
Mhm.
Come to the table about what we could all collectively agree on what is bad.
Mhm.
And then rearrange a vision around that. I don't know, just collectively.
Yeah.
I think that your organizations like yourselves are it though. I mean, those are the
Thanks.
key components that are the glue that could, if this does turn into anything, lead to that, and hopefully can be replicated too.
Yeah, it makes sense. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I don't know which other way to put it.
Yeah. Sometimes the simplest is the best.
Yeah.
What some of the on the ground, some of the toughest things you had to deal with, or I had that 14-year-old girl. She was somebody that stuck out to me. That was sad. Like I was affected by that.
Mhm.
Is there anything like that sticks out to you? Do you have the one relationship or something like that?
I have a couple. I have some dear friends who've passed away.
I'm sorry.
From a number of different things. I have a guy that I was working with who was shot in the head and killed, mistaken identity.
That's terrible.
And then I saw he and his wife were both on the street, and then I witnessed his wife just deteriorate. I haven't seen her in a couple of years. Hopefully for good reasons. Hopefully.
So you were there when she found out?
I wasn't there the moment she found out, but
So
watching her just rapidly just decline. Yeah.
Mm.
And there's a number of things like that. Yeah. And so it happens and it hurts. One of my kind of favorite Bible verses is the end of Jude, where it kind of gives three kind of ways to minister to people. And one of them is to others, snatch them out of the fire. And what happens when you stick your hand in fire to pull somebody out, you're going to get burned.
Right.
And so it happens. When you're out dealing with raw humanity, we're going to get burned and get hurt. And so part of that is why self-care is so important. Taking care of ourselves, having community to rely on. There's times where my team and I are out where one of us will be like, hey, I just need a break. It's like, all right, we'll, cover for you. Or there's a couple that I've worked extensively with who, I love these people, who I was like, I don't have it in me right now to talk to them. I'm just too emotionally involved. So my team was like, yep, stay in the shuttle. We'll take care of it. We'll go check on them, see how they're doing and stuff, see if there's anything we can help with.
Yeah. So you got each other's back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Psychologically, that can be totally damage. And I guess being a police officer or somebody who's a doctor, you kind of get used to that. I'd be worried about getting numb.
Absolutely.
And making it a day-to-day operation where I'd lose my empathy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it would be too job-like.
Yep. And that
you gotta be careful of that.
Absolutely.
Man.
And it's so easy for it to happen.
Yeah.
Where somebody comes up and is telling you just insanity that they've been through. And you're just kind of like, yeah, I mean, it happens.
Yeah, you've heard it all before.
Yeah.
And you've seen it.
Yeah. And that's messed up. That's not right.
Right.
There's something going on with you that needs to be addressed. Either you've got compassion fatigue, burnout. You might just need to go on vacation.
Yeah. Is there a technique for that?
So
whether it be writing or meditation, prayer, is there?
Yeah,
do you center yourself just spiritually that way, and then
for myself, yeah, I
personally,
prayer and meditation is a big part of my life. And talking, I'm in therapy and probably will be as long as I'm doing something
Chris
like this.
And I do couples therapy every week. I'm going to get a therapist too. I want a business coach as well. Why not?
Yeah.
that's one thing. It's taking a hit in the pocket.
Yeah,
There's risks involved. That's to say the least, right, Mark? But we're passionate about it, and it's worth it.
Yeah,
just like you said, getting a hand burn.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It's worth it.
Exactly. But somebody explains to me one time, Jesus has scars too.
Yeah.
And so,
Definitely.
all right, my hand is burnt from sticking my hand into the fire. I've got scars. I've also got scars from plunging into the fire for my own stupidity.
Yeah.
And so I've got these scars, but so does Jesus.
Yeah.
It's nothing to be, it's not the scars of getting burned, getting hurt, trying to help people, trying to serve God, do the right thing. And even when like we fail, they're not marks of failure.
No.
They're marks, they're battle wounds.
They're battle wounds, right? Because you're fighting the good fight.
Exactly.
Out there. That makes sense.
Yep. So at City Relief, we very much try to stay on top of our teams of being okay. So we partner with an organization, Safe Place Ministries.
Smart.
We call them critical incident stress debriefs, where when something bananas happens, myself and a couple other people are trained on it, talk through with the program team members, just do a debrief on the situation. Give it a couple days at least to kind of process. If it's something that somebody needs like some mental health help with, obviously connect them to mental health services.
How easy is it for people to access mental health medications, antidepressants?
On the street?
Yeah.
It depends.
Do you have a way to connect them to a resource like that?
So in theory, it's not that hard. In practice, when you go to the hospital and the doctors kick you out because they've seen you a million times, because you try and take a nap in the ER waiting room and they're just like, I'm not dealing with this. It becomes a lot more difficult. We do in Paterson have some great relationships and connections to be able to help people with mental health medications. Like,
I'm surprised an organization like yours doesn't have doctors.
Yes.
Doesn't have psychologists that actually, because for me in my life, and we've had a couple of guests have conversations about it, is mentorship.
Yeah.
I know you're not a social worker or anything like that, but having some sort of mentorship program,
yeah,
one-on-one, I think.
Yeah, for our guests or for
your
staff?
guests, but also a psychologist that could prescribe medication.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love it. If you know anybody who wants to volunteer, one of my goals actually is to. So
if there's anybody that's a psychologist,
yes,
that wants to volunteer or work something maybe out, but to be able to be in a position to work with organizations like City Relief or Ride the Wave to be able to provide certain services, because I personally take medication for mental health on a daily basis. And I can't imagine if I didn't have access to something like that. So I think that in order for people to get balanced enough to where they have a bit of a shock absorber, or they wouldn't go that low where they're just so down and depressed, just enough to get you right to that balance line, not to be a zombie, to be yourself, but not to be overly emotional to where it would take you off to being unproductive in life.
Yeah. I take mental health meds. It's super important.
Yeah, I think that would be an important thing to have on site.
Yeah, we have an office in Paterson. So if you are a doctor or nurse practitioner, or you're able to prescribe and you would like to get involved with this.
What's the contact for people?
So you can go to cityrelief.org and contact through there. That has like all the information. You could also reach out to me directly, joe.s@cityrelief.org via email.
Yeah, you could also info at ridethewave.org when it comes to a psychologist or anything like that. But yeah, I wanted to make sure your information is definitely out there.
Yeah. Cityrelief.org has all the info. It's our website. You can sign up to volunteer there. You can contact the organization there, learn more about the organization. And like I said, you can reach out to me directly if you have like New Jersey related stuff that you want to do or questions or whatever at joe.s@cityrelief.org.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. I'm just glad I'm glad that there's organizations like yours that exist. I think a lot of people don't realize what's around. Too.
Yeah.
We're all fixated on our lives, making money, our families, our friends, going to barbecues, our troubles, our pains, our everything. Imagine if we were like, how can we serve?
The best way to be free.
How you doing today? What could I do for you? Man, have a great day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could you imagine if the humanity came back in line at places and it wasn't so transactional? That's what's missing. That's what's missing. Because you're somebody who's wearing the shoes. So you're out there, feet on the ground, fighting the fight. And you get it when you enter it, when your eyes are open to it.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the extent of evil, but I also can't comprehend the extent.
I think
you know what I mean? It's weird.
What's interesting being in environments like where we go to serve in Paterson, Newark, New York City, is there's no more evil happening there than there is in the wealthy suburbs. I mean, you have a lot of the same exact stuff happening. It's much more visible.
Well, there's more crime though. Shootings, robberies, statistically.
Yeah, I mean, there's more different types of crimes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you mean just in a sense of morality in an urban community and things like that, not just by law per se. Just like
yes, there's more like visible like shootings and stuff. Yes, you have more concentration of people competing for more resources, and so as that happens, desperate people do desperate things. Right. But there's plenty of crime that happens in the surrounding suburbs that doesn't make the headlines. There's just as many people doing drugs.
Oh yeah.
There's probably more people doing white collar crime and stuff like that. Not that doesn't also happen in cities. But so it's different and definitely more visible.
Yeah, what you're saying makes sense. Like it's there on all levels.
Yeah,
it just it just comes out differently.
Yeah,
it's seen as different, and we also have our stigmas, right? Our judgments about certain types of people, certain types of towns or areas and things like that. And they're so. After speaking to people and getting to know them, they're so unbelievably limited in category, and that we tend to just shut things down in there and make them so broad.
Yeah,
the broadness of it all. I love what you guys are doing. I love how you're going and making it mobile and making it individualized to the person and getting to the bottom of the true needs and not just overall.
Yeah,
that's huge.
We're not just trying to put Band-Aids on things.
There you go.
We're trying to. I mean, I believe life transformation always happens in the context of relationship. And so that's why we try not to be transactional. We try to be relational. Just introducing yourself to somebody. Hi, I'm Joe. What's your name? If someone tells me their name's Batman, I'm going to call him Batman. Sometimes I wish people would call me Batman. Like that, stuff like that we do. Yeah. The people that we're helping, you're in the driver's seat. You make your own decisions about your life. We are here to help you. As long as you're willing to let us walk with you, we will. And so, I mean, obviously, relief is in the name. We provide immediate relief, sock soup, Michael Jackson. I think that counts as relief.
Music relief.
Yeah, absolutely. Community, loneliness, something people are talking a lot about these days.
Yes, that's an epidemic.
Epidemic loneliness, yeah.
And parents ignoring their kids.
Yeah.
Worse than verbal abuse. Or not worse, but it's a form of abuse, I mean.
Yeah, like neglect. Not just physical 100%. Neglect, but like emotional neglect.
Right now.
Oh, yeah.
Not to get too much off topic, but would you mind briefly, before time is up, to tell us about your life?
Sure, yeah. So
things that what led you to go down this path?
Yeah, really. So I grew up a Christian in the faith. My parents are both in ministry. But I grew up a bit of a tumultuous childhood, craziness. I was sexually abused, got involved with violence at a young age, made a lot of dumb decisions, and mental health issues from young. I was just born an anxious, depressed kid, I think. So I often think like, if circumstances had been different, would my life be different? And I'm
Yeah,
like, maybe, but
we could all think
probably
that.
not.
That'll never happen.
Like,
no.
yeah, what's always the common denominator? Maybe.
Yeah, I get that sometimes. Oh, if I could go back, knowing what
Yeah.
I know now.
Yeah.
If you could just go back, get another restart, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get it.
I'd still probably make the wrong decision.
Exactly.
And so yeah, I had a tumultuous kind of upbringing in some ways. Got involved with the wrong crowd. Became an alcoholic. Experimented with other drugs.
Mhm.
God set me free from that. AA was a huge part of my life, my story. Big fan of AA. The 12 steps, I think, are applicable to almost any problem you have in life. The 12 steps, you can apply to it in some different
really?
way. Oh, yeah.
I have to get an idea on what exactly the 12 steps are and see that. And I bet it could apply to business, problem solving, like you said. Just anything like that are good.
Yeah, it's anything that is kind of controlling you.
Mhm.
The 12 steps can be applied to.
Do you have them memorized? Do you know like one,
You would
2, 3?
think I would. I know
That's a lot of
the.
steps
It's
that I've
so
memorized.
step one is.
There's a lot of
I
stuff.
forget.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
12 is a
memorize-
lot to know off the top.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact verbiage, but the gist of it is: 1 is admitting we're powerless over alcohol. 2 is that a power that could and would, our lives have become unmanageable, and that a power could and would restore us to sanity. 3 is made a decision to turn our will over our will and our lives over to God as we understand Him.
Mhm.
4, make a fearless self inventory. So that's where you go through all the resentments of your life. You go through and write it out. Who the person is, what they did to you, what that affected, and then the last part is you do what role did you play. So very few times in our adult lives are there situations where we're 100% a victim and had no role to play. It happens. I mean,
yeah, it ties in right
raped,
in.
murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have a role to play. But and as kids, things are different. We have no power.
Yeah.
But as adults, it doesn't mean we're not also a victim, but we can take responsibility for what we've done. So step 5 is you read it to somebody, talk through it, and get free from it, let it out. 6, you make a decision to have these character defects removed that you've identified in yourself. 7 is you pray and ask God to remove the character defects. Step 8 is you make a list of harms, everybody you've ever harmed, what you did. Step 9 is you make direct amends. You go to the person and you take responsibility for what you've done. If you owe them money or whatever, you start paying them back. 10 is you continue to do a nightly inventory. So instead of, having to go through your whole life of all your resentments and stuff, just daily and just handle stuff when it happens. Yeah. 11 is through prayer and meditation, having contact with God. And 12 is having had a spiritual awakening because of this, helping another person. And so yeah, anything that you're trying to get over, these principles can be applied to.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's some psychological principles in there to uncover. And then there's the spiritual aspect as well. So I think that those are a good format. And it's proven.
Yeah.
It's proven to work for a lot of
it worked for me.
People. So I'm sure there's people in the audience, or Mark, I didn't know if you knew the 12 steps or what they exactly were. I never knew that.
That's the gist of them. So yeah, worked for me. I was very much a believer in God. I don't think that because you struggle with addiction means you are have any less of a relationship with God. We all have our struggles, right?
Yeah. Peter's a perfect example of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so I was very much loved God, wanted to serve God. I just had some issues I needed to address.
Yeah.
And so at a young age, I got involved in Paterson. I don't know how to explain it other than the calling. I was driving through Paterson and saw the presidential towers, and just something in me was like, I want to know everything there is to possibly know about them. And it just kind of went from there. Wow. I was walking down Main Street in South Paterson looking for a hookah bar and with my cousin. And I just felt something say, turn around and say what? And so I did. There was a old gentleman there, older guy, who was homeless. He had a tracheotomy in his neck, the hole, oozing, rusty pus. Can you help me get something to eat?
Yeah.
So I was like, my cousin and I were like, sure. So we went to a little Chinese spot, got him some egg foo young, prayed for him and left.
Yeah.
And then just something in me, I was just like, I gotta go back. So I went back, found him, built friendships with him and his kind of community group of guys. Hung out in that area, would bring sandwiches and stuff.
Yeah.
Really just learn. And that kind of ended. He passed away. Some other guys went on the run. And so I shifted more downtown where there's bigger homeless kind of population. And really just got involved there. And that's where my the call to ministry happened. Like I said, when I saw just something in me.
Yeah, and you responded. You mentioned respond.
Yeah.
Wave is like what you responded to. It's the wave is an indirect what happened to you. That happened to me. Indirect spirit. Because when I responded to Daryl. You know, that was a calling, that feeling. And there was nervousness before. Before I approached the window and things like that. So that response, you know, that like Eminem, you only get one shot.
Yeah.
That, I think, is those shots. And then what happens is it won't come without challenges, but if you continue to flow with that, ride that wave, you'll get that pick me up, that energy. And earlier we were talking about relationships. I think the purpose of life is relationships. Yeah. I think that's what we're designed for.
That's why God made you.
And I think that, and it would make sense to me because if I was Satan, that would be my tactic, that anything contrary is designed to distract us from connecting to people and having things that, because think about, and I'm not going to go into detail about this. I'm not going to even plant the name or anything like that. I had briefly talked to the other Joe.
Yes.
We talked to over there.
Uh-huh.
The one I thought you were.
Yeah.
The Paterson one.
Yeah.
About a thought or idea that we have where there could be a potential future collaboration. When we're ready, we'll come to City Relief.
Please do.
With something like that. And really, essentially, we'd be trying to enlarge the interaction I had with Hal, which is on our website. But yeah, it's interesting. It's a blessing. And I understand what you mean by a calling.
Yeah.
Because you are a man with a purpose. You have a God-given mission.
Yeah.
And there's nothing better than that. And there's also nothing more. It's difficult too, because when you have that knowledge and you know that, and you also feel it and it's integrated. It's integrated and it's
the divine, how you say, divine divinity.
Yeah.
Divine entity.
Yeah, but it's also, it makes it more frustrating. Like I want things to move quicker. Yeah. And I'm also much more empathetical towards injustices or sensitive towards when people, if there's something in law or if the system's set up to bring people down, I'm much more wanting to defend people than I was prior to, coming to faith and being gifted with Wave.
Yeah. I mean, standing up for people, helping the widow and the orphan, people who are oppressed, that's a big part of faith.
Yeah. Sacrifice is a key in every religion. And sacrifice, I mean, you're sacrificing, opening the door for somebody. Everything's a sacrifice. You sacrifice for your kids when you maybe give them food and you don't eat. Like anything and everything leads to that. It's just how much are you willing to, and for who, and for what?
Ask with the question, who is my neighbor? Love your neighbor as yourself.
Exactly.
Who's my neighbor?
Right.
And the answer is more, who's not your neighbor? And nobody.
Because when you face somebody, think about it, like at some point you most likely had that exact emotion or that exact internal situation that person that's directly in front of you may have experienced or is experiencing right there. So you really are looking at a direct reflection of yourself, just feeling different things at different times. We are connected in that regards because you've had something, we just exchange different times we're up and down, really. But if we understand that, have some humanity towards each other and empathy and are more caring. And I've said this a couple times in the show, there's organizations like City Relief, nonprofit, community-based, people, my friends, family, Mark's community, like that's what's going to make the difference. That's it's going to make a difference. There's obviously the way things are going, it
Mhm.
is not going to come from government.
Mhm.
The only way is the people.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
us. And it's our responsibility.
Absolutely.
So I'm not just pursuing something to build a camp. Like it's much more than that. For me, I feel like I'm obligated
Yeah.
to do it now.
Yeah.
It's more.
I know what you mean. Where you're
Yeah.
like, because believe me, there are times where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want to have another friend who passes away, gets killed.
Yeah. That's tough, man.
And it keeps coming back to the kind of word God, the times where I've been a little baby. And I'm like, God, I don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
This is meant to be a gift for me
Mhm.
to get to join God in what he's doing. It's a gift for me because God doesn't need me to do what he's doing.
Yeah, it's a good point.
He because he loves us, he lets us join him on this amazing adventure. And with that, we do have a responsibility. We have an obligation. And so oftentimes when I'm feeling like maybe I'm feeling a little burnt out or whatever, because it happens, that feeling of like I have a responsibility to like keep going.
And it's so backwards, but I think that's the point. Because if it wasn't, it would be too easy. You know, that that's another one. Shoot, did it again.
That
That was a
all
good
the time.
point too. What were we just talking about right before that?
See, I have the same problem as
Do
you.
you remember we were just talking about right before that? That was a good point too.
We're just talking about being called
Yeah.
to do something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Being called to
Contradictory, but it's a sacrifice. So
Yeah.
it's a letting go, not an assuming control to tweak the world the way you want it.
Mhm.
Thanks, Mark, for bringing it back around.
Again,
Yeah.
impressive.
Mm.
Very impressive.
Right? And it was so like he doesn't even say much. It's just
Yeah.
like me listening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just like literally sometimes Nick, somebody from the podcast here, one of the works here, like, mentioned, maybe I'm like realizing where I am, that I'm sitting here with the lights. No, the thought just goes.
Yeah.
I can't get it back.
See,
I feel you.
It's weird.
Me, the way I look at it is the way I look at life in general. Like I always said, I knew I was different growing up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't do a lot of things that my peers did. You know, I didn't have the best friends in high school and college. I didn't go to college. Like I went to community college, just took a few courses here and there.
Mhm. Same.
You know, I went to Essex County College in Newark. I grew up and I was raised in Newark.
Okay.
So yeah, for 18 years. My mom, my birth mom lives in Alabama. My mom that raised me still lives in Newark to this day.
What part of Newark you from? If you don't mind me asking.
18th Ave, River Turner.
Okay. I was down on South 12th and South 8th and 12th Ave.
Nice. So like I said, I didn't have the best friends and the close circle, all that growing up. Like I've seen hundreds and millions of people come and go.
Yeah.
So it's like I've always not always saw myself, but just looking on the outside, like I was always a loner.
Yeah.
Growing up. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have this, that, and third, whatever.
Mhm.
Cool. Which made me part of the man who I am today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it was like, I feel as though like we're meant to connect with one another throughout our life. You know what I mean? No matter what we're going through, we're meant to connect, you know, and pursue through connections a higher standard in life.
Mhm.
But we can't get through it alone. We have to connect.
Yeah, you make a really good point there. You make a good point because people in situations that you're trying to help would have nobody.
Yeah.
If
Like
it wasn't for
we're not put here
need
to go
help.
through life by ourselves.
Absolutely.
Right. Exactly.
We wasn't
That's why it's
made. We wasn't
relationships.
made to be alone.
No, I agree.
You know what I'm saying, and I'm not talking about the Adam and Eve and the you know, God created Adam and then He created Eve for us. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the in general divinity, in general spirituality, where our spirits are connected.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah, I think love is in need.
we just don't
Relationship
have
is in
the
need. Yeah.
we just don't have the right tools and the right things to either see it or to actually connect.
But also, what's the point if you're not bringing people up with you? All right, so I could accumulate a bunch of material possessions and have that type of success and take. But if you're not bringing, if this thing goes, Mark, and we're not bringing up friends, family, and giving platforms to people like Joe here and friends and things like that, then what is the point of all that? Yeah, it defeats the purpose. It really. So I think that's like yeah. And then when people figure that out and go against the grain of what we've been taught, that's it, man. It's game over.
Yep.
That wave, it'll go, but it'll have tidal waves. It'll have obstacles. And with this upcoming election, there's going to be a lot going on. There's going to be a lot going on in the world coming up lately. And I think that thank God, I'm grateful for City Relief and you, Joe, and what you guys do. Shout out Vanessa, the other Joe. What's Joe's last name?
Bay,
you the man. Is Loki still there?
Loki is not. He just got another job. He's got 3 little girls. And
he was a good guy. I
love
Loki.
Loki.
He was great. Good young man. He was going to get his own portion or something, or run his own bus, I thought at one point.
Potentially in Newark. Newark. Yeah.
Okay. I wish him well.
Yeah.
If you talk to him,
I still talk to him. Yeah.
Tell him I said he may not remember me. Because with Joe, Loki, was he there that time? He was there, but Vanessa, early concept. When Wave first came to me and I had the idea, what I mentioned before, future collaboration, I planted the seed a little bit. I was talking about it from the very first time, trying to get even a guest while I was there.
Yeah.
Talking to somebody. So I was definitely kind of a little kooky probably and just overly surged with it, but they were very polite. They liked it. And, I thank them for the support.
They're great people. I mean, the team that we have at City Relief, you mentioned it kind of in the beginning. We have people who actually care.
Yes.
People who genuinely want to be here, genuinely want to serve others. And that can be a rare thing. And it makes it great people to work with. My team now in New Jersey, the New Jersey team now is myself, Xyandra, and Ancito. And I love it. Xyandra is like, maybe not surprising, administrative, not my natural inclination. Much better sitting on the sidewalk talking to somebody.
Yeah.
But Xyandra, she's phenomenal at that kind of management. So she's our program manager.
Yeah.
Ancito is our outreach leader. He's a medical professional from Haiti originally. Then he was in the DR and now he's here. And so kind of with the nature of drugs right now, I don't know if you've heard of Xylazine, Tranq, but it's creating necrotizing wounds. So it's crazy.
Is that worse than fentanyl or is it right there?
So it's being mixed with fentanyl.
It's being mixed because there was when I was on the last outreach, there was a girl there, a woman that was recovering, severely addicted to heroin on the street, like just in Paterson. And it was scary how how cheap and how intense, how strong and how lethal fentanyl is. So this is another one. So people know these are things that's happening on the street. I mean, they could take a little bit.
Fentanyl is 50 times more potent than
50 times.
Than I'm drawing a blank.
Heroin?
No, not heroin. Morphine.
Wow.
Morphine. Yeah. There's not really much heroin out there anymore. It's all fentanyl. Fentanyl mixed with other stuff. So what's happening now is fentanyl is being mixed with the Xylazine, which everybody calls Tranq. It is a horse tranquilizer. So they use it when they need to do surgery on a horse. And so it's not an opioid.
It's not
ketamine. Or even elephants.
Really? So ketamine is animal tranquilizer that they use, but
it's different. Ketamine creates more like it's more like psychedelic-ish. I've never done ketamine, but
years ago I might have tried it.
But the Tranq, the Xylazine, it knocks you out. And so I mean, literally, you've had people who they pass out in a puddle and drowned because that's how out they are. But one of the side effects of it is it creates necrotizing wounds. So your skin, and it doesn't happen just at the site of injection. So let's say I shoot up here, maybe here I get one of the wounds, my flesh literally would turn black and fall off.
Hear that, people? You know, it's almost like there's literally people are turning into zombies on the street. So, you know, over this week and over the weekend, while everybody, you know, you're out there eating potato chips, drinking beer, smoking a bong or whatever, you know, maybe get up, go volunteer, and be useful within your community, because it's serious and it's growing. Do you have any numbers of how that's growing? Like or deaths or just any stats you could throw out?
We had the first, I believe, I'm not 100% positive, but I'm pretty sure this was 2023 was the first year where overdose deaths declined insignificantly, but did decline. But that being said,
but it's that if the numbers are high to begin with and it's a little decline, is that?
Yeah. So we're in, like they say, we're in the fourth wave of the opioid epidemic, and they're describing that as opioids being mixed with other things like meth, and here Xylazine, and so with the introduction of fentanyl since 2014, I believe we've been in an overdose epidemic. Since 2014, it was rising every year, number of fatal overdoses. Last year was the first time in New Jersey that it decreased insignificantly. But that the number of fatal overdoses in communities of color have continued to rise. So what it is people who have more access to resources, insurance, wealth, are getting help. And things are starting to
they're able to get
slowly
mental health rehab.
Yeah, medication.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah. Whereas more communities that don't have as many resources available to them, poverty, it's continuing on as it is. And so all that to say, what I was saying with Xylazine, one of the things we offer is wound care. Oncito's a medical professional. And so people have these crazy wounds. I've seen a woman's bone on her arm. It's insane.
Nobody should be walking around like that.
No. Wound care is, I think, my favorite thing.
Dr. Bo, too, I want to connect you guys because one of the things, not only Be the Change New Jersey, there's a medical van. She's a doctor, nurse, practitioner, I think.
Absolutely.
Sorry if I'm she's
a nurse with a PhD.
Oh, yeah. All right, so doc, so one of the things in like the mission in Morristown, I just offered if they needed a medical van to come. So that would be something that's mobile. They can come on site, take blood, do
a
bunch of stuff like that. And they do that quite a bit. They've been doing that. And that's a really, really great service. So I'm going to connect you guys.
Please do. Yeah, I'm
for sure.
Definitely want to.
Joe, you're the man. Hey, I really, really appreciate you coming on, telling, we didn't get too far into your story. Hopefully if
next time.
Come on. Come on again. We'd love to have either yourself or somebody else that represents City Relief. You guys have an open seat to come here anytime and to talk about any updates, any challenges that you're facing as our audience grows or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because we're open to a partnership with you guys, and we fully support your efforts.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Definitely let me know when I can come volunteer and probably possibly do a mural for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll set something up where we'll volunteer.
I'm going to talk to you about a mural after this.
Oh, you got something? Yeah. All right, there you go. Mark, we're going to get your art out there too. Everyone, thank you so much. You have a great rest of the day or evening. Joe, again, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you, guys.
Really appreciate it. Take care. Thank you.
Till next time.
Thank you for tuning in to Ride the Wave. It's been a pleasure having you with us as we explore ways to make a positive impact together. Remember, every little wave creates a ripple of change. We appreciate any support you can provide as we plan to build an all-inclusive, modern campus and empower communities. For details on how you can contribute through various platforms, please visit us at ridethewave.org. Until next time, keep riding the wave of change with us. I'm Jeff Fisher, signing off, but the journey continues.